beloved, this is the Culture and Camaraderie podcast, the most thought-provoking, introspective, industrious, creative discussion with my guy Tiberius.
Wagwan.
I am NY Typical. I'm coming to you live from my humble beginnings. Shout out my outro.
Was good.
Blessings, peace, salutations, and croissants.
Pause.
Pause on croissants.
Yeah.
Getting a bit loosey-goosey with it. Well, that's kind of a pause still. But it ain't.
Real. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some cool things to talk about this week.
Yeah, we do still.
If I do say so myself.
I'll be listening to things.
Mm-hmm. I think we should first of all go into some of the albums and shit you've heard. I know there's music you wanted to talk to me about. And all that good shit.
Music, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, who's Emotional Oranges?
Emotional Oranges are this group, duo, type thing. They just sing R&B, soulful type R&B sounds. You Should Let Me Love You, but you know, today it's quite good. Like, I haven't actually listened to Jarquise or Jarquise, however you want to put it.
No,
King of R&B.
Yeah. Is he king
But
of R&B?
yeah,
Is he?
is he the king of R&B? He can be wherever the heck he wants to be honest with you. And well, he can call himself whatever he wants, but he can't be it. Like, I can call myself the best, but that doesn't really mean anything until I actually do something deliberate.
Touche. Agree with that. But yeah, Emotional Oranges. So is it like in the vein of?
In the vein of,
Yeah, I need
Sir, maybe.
Okay. Sort of
They're not as good as Sir.
Real instrument aesthetics.
Let me see if I can bust down the tune because I like the intro song.
Alright.
So yeah, let's just talk over it so we don't get flagged on YouTube. But yeah.
Okay. I get what you mean.
No, it's I don't know what to call it, to be honest with you. I just kind of fell upon them.
It's got very funk. It like because even with like their yeah, do you want to turn it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Even with their what's it called? With their pictures that I saw.
Yeah.
They it looks very 70s.
Yeah, they done their listening party in a juice bar and everything. So it was like
That's hilarious.
yeah, it's real placement.
Where are they from?
I don't even know, you know. I don't know all of these things.
You didn't bother to find out?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I kind of like it though.
I haven't even listened to one of their interviews. I don't even know whether they do one.
Very chill stuff.
I think it's like one white guy and one white girl. But that's like just me guessing of the sound of their voice on one image of their
They don't sound white to me.
But talking about oranges, look at them right there. Tell me if they're not.
Okay. Maybe you're right. Emotional.
Then there's Blood
That is
Orange.
a weird name.
Do you know?
That's who I thought. I thought you was like that was like a weird name for Blood Orange. To be honest. That's why I was like, what?
You know about Blood Orange, fam?
Yes.
You're in that
He
vibe.
released this- not really. Like I listened to him and I wasn't a fan really, but
To be honest, I really like Ian Isaiah. Yeah. The singer. He was a stylist for Hood by Air.
yeah, I see this guy pop around.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
he's like like a lot of the stuff I've seen from him is like sort of very lo-fi.
yeah,
It's not really
underground, like in that scene, like, cause that's my scene. I love that shit, fam.
So he hasn't really.
And this guy that I listen to newly,
Yeah, we should probably keep.
Black Party.
Black Party. No, he had some good tunes. What was it? He had an album called Summer.
Endless Summer.
Endless Summer, something like that.
Yeah, and there's bare more other tunes. But like obviously, let me actually shout out Westside Gun and Davies. Even though I haven't heard Davies' album, but I listened to Westside Gun's album when I couldn't sleep. I was just listening to that. Listening to Painted Again by whatchamacallit, that dude, Lucky Day. And that's just such a wavy. He's like Flood, Misunderstood, all of that is just, it catches you, fam. You don't know Flood or Misunderstood, do you?
I listened to it again. I don't know what it is. I just can't. No, I did hear this. Yeah, we need to be careful, bro.
We're filling
it with.
I like it. I don't care.
Trying to.
It sounds.
Trying to get flagged out here.
I don't know. You know, like will we get flagged? I don't know.
Who knows?
I actually don't think
those
we will.
algorithms, man.
These algorithms.
People on the lookout.
The people that we just played aren't signed to well, they don't have the lawyers like that. Not saying that they won't flag us, but they don't have the lawyers that search particularly for that. Emotional Oranges aren't gonna do it. They need the placement. And that's not
as much as
that's just understanding what a new artist
it's
needs.
So mad how you can get like 2 million plays, 7 million plays, and you just know that they don't really get that much from that at all. Just looking at that, that looks so impressive, don't it?
Yeah,
but
like 1 billion streams is gold, isn't it? That's a bit nuts. That just sounds nuts. Like 1 billion is only 500,000 copies sold. That's wild. That's wild. Like, you're absolutely not giving me what I need. What other tunes have come out though?
There was a few.
It's bare.
There was a few.
Well, we didn't talk about Jesus is King last week. That dropped.
Didn't.
Like this. No, like let me actually be serious because you know, Earl Sweatshirt dropped Feet of Clay, but being serious, I only like listening to Sir and Lucky Day is a new thing. Like
what for you or?
Yeah, like they just caught me in a time and place where because people like us, like the reason why we catch on to people early is just because we're more receptive to new music and good new music. So it doesn't really matter, because that's I should say that's the only difference between us and people that don't listen to new music and just listen to the charts. Is that we're just more open to find it. And like I was just caught in a mood.
Yeah.
I listened to Sir, also listened to Lucky Day in the same way. Snow Allegro caught me on those feels.
That was a good album. That's still a good album. That's still like
Like who else? Like just like there's just like, but on a normal, it's like I just listen to old school 70s music. On like songs like because Emotional Oranges did whatchamacallit, they were writing about sex and one night stands and just random stuff that everybody talks about, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like there wasn't any like extra depth in there. Like, well, with how Frank Ocean used to write songs, not how we write songs now.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not really into the way Frank is writing right now.
What because he released some new tunes as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I listened to all of them. The Skepta one is the best one out of all of them, but no, fam, Bunna.
Why was that the best one? Just for the writing, or just the production as a whole?
Yeah, just for it as a whole, and that was just off a rip of a DJ set in his club.
Oh, really? So that's not even the actual tune?
Yeah.
I wondered why it sounded so weird. But the thing is, the way that, at the end where he kept like
Yeah.
that skipping, I thought it was just a bit too excessive to be in an actual DJ set.
Oh.
So I thought it was like, because it was just, I thought that was like part of the production. So it's just a rip. Okay, mad.
To be fair, and J House dropped a new tune.
Yeah, I was gonna speak about that.
Ooh, you want to speak about it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah.
I love this tune. I don't even know what we're really doing right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro.
But this tune is absolutely manic. No, this is my favorite tune right now. Like J House just says, and and he just, fam. That tune right there, yeah. Good God. That's a banger. That's an automatic banger. I don't know what to call it. Like it's not like a club hit, but at the same time, it's gonna be.
Do you remember when you first found out about J House?
Do I remember?
Well, like I remember there was that clip circulating. Or not a clip circulating, but it was before he had released his album, he'd released any singles. And there was just this sort of, he was spitting bars from Plotting.
That's not when I first heard about
No,
J-House.
no, that's not when you first heard it. I'm not saying when you, but that was the question, but I'm thinking, I remember when.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I do remember.
There was that clip.
100%.
And I was like, oh, okay, damn.
But that was before he had... I'm just plotting. Wait. Don't girls when you're wondering. You don't get girls, fam, you're bluffing. Something like that. I forgot the way the bar goes. Yeah, but it was on his
like the
IG.
Production on that. The production was not anywhere for what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a gritty,
different
but the thing
levels.
The thing is, it makes sense because he doesn't make gritty tunes. Like he might speak about gritty stuff, but from time to time. But it's like it's always got like there's always sort of like a bop to his tunes. It's weird.
Yeah, it's that he just has this blend that's just remarkable. Like basically, I forgot what year of uni it was. It's probably 4th year. I was speaking to this white girl in the club, and she told me, "Do you know about J House?" I forgot what. No, she didn't say J House, but she started reciting part of his daily duppy, I think it was.
Oh yeah. Where was this in uni?
Yeah, this was in uni, fam.
In
like
uni?
A couple of rappers, girls in like, I think that's the same thing that was with Young Bane. And like yeah, so I just went back to my dorm room, like I do, and then I introduced J Hus to the people of my Snapchat, and this was back when I was banging on Snapchat, so it was just a different vibe. And like I used to play tunes on my Snapchat. If you don't know, like obviously no one that's listening to this knows, but I've been plotting on content for a long time. So like when I was making tunes when I was listening to tunes, being a tune curator and all of that stuff, that was back in the day, man. But yeah, that Daily Duppy, and then
I do miss those times.
The Mad About Bars. Wait, it's not Mad About Bars. It's the other one.
What Mad? Because he had he has the Daily Duppy that was recent, but I realised he had one back in the day.
He had bit like you can't even put my try draw my zoo, no way. Yo, he's absolutely fire. Oh my god. And then obviously Dave dropped a drill tune. And like there's this I don't know whether you know about this, but there's this Twitter page, yeah, that's like has Dave dropped a drill tune, and then for days of like what for months, every single day was like no, 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 all the way on until he dropped the jaw tune, fam. Literally. Wait, let me see if I can try and find it for you. But yeah, this page, it was tracking when Dave would actually drop his jaw tune. Let me try to see it. But yeah, have you listened to that Dave song?
What's it called?
I don't even know, you know.
See, I'm not like I don't really follow these guys. Too heavy, but
What?
I'm just I'm interested in their careers and I like some of the music they make. But Dave in particular, I'm not a big Dave
You're
fan.
guilty.
J Hus though, I like J
You're
Hus.
guilty by association. It's called Paper Cuts.
I just like the way J Hus like goes about his.
Were you under free J House wave?
No, I wasn't like not today.
Oh wow,
But,
I was. Like there's just certain artists. Yo, that's gonna be.
What more than the music?
Yes, that's gonna sound more annoying at least. But
Can you even hear that?
yeah. Wait, you haven't heard Paper Cuts then, have you?
No, I haven't.
You actually need to hear that tune, but it's not really a drill tune. It's just a tune about badness, to be fair, which isn't drill. Santan Dave, and it's on his page. There you go.
Oh, jokes.
But yeah, what other tunes have dropped down? Mazzoline.
There was. Have you heard Wiki? Of Wiki?
No.
It's rapper Wiki.
Wiki, like Wikipedia.
Yeah, but his name.
Like
his
wiki,
name is
wiki, wiki, wiki.
But he's like this rapper from New York. He's got mad busted teeth, but he's just crazy sick. You have to hear it. Right, I've heard it here somewhere.
Wiki. That wasn't on the docket,
Do you
fam.
remember? No, I know. No, I'm just saying what else.
We haven't even got. We haven't told people that we got a docket yet, but it's okay.
Oh, so they don't need to know about our docket.
This is all coming from the top of our domes, fam.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Wiki. He's like this rapper, but he used to be part of this group. I can't remember what they were called.
You move like a
Rat King. Have you heard of a group called Rat King? There was a producer called Sporting Life.
Good gracious me.
Yeah,
You're saying a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah, no,
That's like you
quite
telling me
underground.
about Saba for the first time.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't heard of Wiki. He's been around for a little while. He's made a tune with Skepta.
All I know about
This guy's made a tune
New
with
York
Skepta.
is Fabio Foreigner
Mm.
or Fabio Foreign, Pop Smoke, Smoke G, Shy Glizzy, I believe is from New York as well. But that whole
this
drill-
guy is no. He's like on a wave of sort of like kind of he's this is a great example actually.
Backpack
He's to
rap.
New York. No, he's to New York what Slowthai is to London. If that makes sense. In a
Nah,
sense. Do you know what I mean?
That don't make sense. Because Slowthai is from like Northampton.
Okay, well, to the UK, whatever you want to say.
To England.
He's the same sort of.
Okay.
Like it's like he's even.
Okay,
But
okay.
Wiki can rap. I
Wait.
don't know the extent to Slowthai's rapping ability, like, but I'm talking about like just aesthetically and just as an artist.
Who
they're
do you
the
actually
same
like
sort
to
of
listen to? Like,
thing. At the moment, it's all over the place. I don't have. I've got my favorite albums. I've got the albums that are close to my heart.
yeah, name them.
But well, I've spoke to you about like D'Angelo, how that's influenced me. How albums like Crooks and Lovers, like
Yeah,
I was
two man
thinking
can't be speaking about D'Angelo, to be honest, for too long.
That's
so.
you get what I mean. So I'm like, I was talking. Oh crap!
Goodness gracious, mate, we can get flagged because
It's ads, man. It's free revenue.
if we get flagged,
what was I
we're
gonna
just
say?
done, fam.
Yeah, man. Like all the electronic stuff. I haven't really got like it's hard because as of recent, it's just been hard trying to find. Like I get over music a lot quicker than I did once upon a time. You know what I mean? Like I'll still like it, but it's not like a. And I'll
It's
still be able to listen to it.
interesting, man.
But yeah,
I don't know. It's got to be like
been-
quite sad, like we're not sad actually. Like because obviously with me with writing, like as soon as I get into something professionally, like everybody else becomes my competition,
Mhm.
and it's like. But in that same light, I see exactly what I look at the way that people construct things and say, okay, so you're doing this here and that builds up this thing over here and okay, you're leading us on. Like when I'm watching TV shows, I'm like, oh, you're leading us this direction, or like or if I look like on the TV show Legion particularly, I look at it and I was like, oh, so this is what you're doing visually and you're giving us cues and making us feel a certain way at certain times in the visuals and stuff, and like you're not really playing with the script or like playing with acting or anything like that. You're really playing with edits and visual effects, and you're using more so that stuff to like either scare us or tell us a different type of story. But yeah, it's like because like there's like you literally need an on-screen narrator for Legion. But yeah, I wouldn't assume, but with music, it's like, well, not even with music, but like you're a producer, so I imagine that you're literally listening to as much music as possible, or listening to the best part of a song so that you could possibly sample it or something like that.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. I just think where it's weird because when I'm, it's hard because for me to listening to music is a kind of thing where if I'm not, it's like it was nice when what's it called, Snow Liquid's album came out and Sir's album came out, because they had songs on there that I played on repeat, and I was like, I would listen to them, and they were inspiring for their own reasons, and I was invested in those songs in particular. But outside of that, it's hard for me to go on a search as much as I had, just because of everything that's going on at the moment in life, and I still make music, and I still.
Well, what's going on?
So, it's just life, just working. It's like nothing out of the ordinary that not.
No, I mean, what's going on?
What do you mean?
On the 20.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot to plug this from the jump. 28th of November, we got a little shindig going on in the King's Head Members Club, and there's going to be a whole host of bad men playing on the decks and performing some songs for y'all.
Popping on the mic.
So a lot of talent: Tate Imogen, Lolash, Elzo, Komikamo, Apollinaire, Anton Joseph, loads and loads of peeps. So yeah, it's in collaboration with 4MF Vibes and Dammy Laurie.
Hey, Dammy Laurie also has a book coming to you, or coming to stores or wherever you buy books. Yeah, you can
Dammy's gonna be
request my book.
Hosting for us. He's gonna be the host for the evening. So please rock through.
I have this.
Anyway, that's a tangent. I wanted to finish talking about the music. So when I'm listening to music. Sorry. We was on a conversation. Did you want to plug things? Okay.
No. I wanted to just get into the Pharrell thing from what you're speaking about, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We can do that.
Oh well, however.
I didn't finish my thought, but we can go straight to the Pharrell.
No. I'm talking about after you finish your thought, like just gradually get there.
No. Yeah, just with music, I find it harder to sort of invest in music, like before. Like when I was going through those days of curating and looking for me, I was so much more actively looking for new music. I feel the internet's become such a weird place, because I feel like the way stuff like SoundCloud was killed off. Like SoundCloud, I remember at its peak, it was just the sickest place.
Yeah, it
was
was
the
the mightiest
sickest
weapon.
You could sample anything you wanted, put it up there. It wasn't about the making of money. It was like you could just make all these different songs. People were using it, and the most creative people were like putting out edits. The talent that was on there, a lot, like, it's to the point where a lot of the people that were on there back in the day, who were just making music and putting it out on the internet, they're making some of the biggest songs right now. I remember before when Selection was just coming around, and they were so small. Now they've got people on their roster.
It's just so, it's wild, fam.
What?
Because you got the Selection era, and then you got the SoundCloud rapper era, and then it's like, you just think about, wow, fam.
And it's interesting because the whole
like, freedom really breeds, like,
it's true,
just an ability to create like no other. Like, just having that freedom, that just like, I'm not gonna, like, no one's gonna try and like slit my throat because I'm making this song type shit. And it's like,
it's real. It's just people's music constantly getting taken down, and then no one really wants to use it. And people use it because it's a way for them to put their music up for free. But now there's so many sanctions on it. You can't really sample things or make remixes or edits. And
it'd be much different if you're like a podcast, which is like what's popping on there right now. It's like, if you have a podcast, you put it on there and stuff like that. But 103 minutes, that's like some great songs that you can make with those 100 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
with a podcast, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's
like an episode and a half.
Genuinely.
But that's it. It's like, it's funny because
that's.
But I think it's more than just that, because it wasn't necessarily the lack of freedom that could stop people posting this. I just feel like there's many factors. It's not that people have stopped putting out great music or interesting music, or
they have
pushing the envelope, but I think it's lessened. It's become less, and it's become more obscure and harder to find because of the way the soundscapes have kind of been.
I don't think anyone's put out great music in the past like 3 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a great song that came out in the past 3 years.
A great song.
So I'm not feeling like I'm mad.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really, really hard.
I don't think I could say no great music has come out in the past 3 years, because if I sat down and I thought and I looked through, I wouldn't be able to say it off dome, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily
I've
not
been
true.
looking, scouring the earth.
Oh no, but that's
and you know how I scour.
That's a debate for another time.
I
think
that
the way
not,
and
it doesn't exist.
And that's kind of why I've not really been as.
So wait, you're gonna disagree with me, but then agree with me?
No. I wasn't disagree with you. I didn't disagree with you, because that's why sometimes you got to listen to what I'm saying, bro.
What?
I didn't say.
Don't shoot me.
I didn't say that
there
isn't no. That it's.
Tyler,
that
I'm
is
bleeding.
Wait, man.
I'm bleeding. You try to shoot me.
No, listen, bro. I'm not saying that there has been, because I'm just saying I can't think of it off dome, but I feel in my heart that if I look through, I could pull something out of the bag. But it's hard. Like, the fact that I have to think that hard speaks to the current state of
It's
things.
mad telling. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, regardless of whether there is a song or not that I could pick out the hat, the issue is that I still have to think that hard about it. You know what I mean? Even with the albums that have come out, I struggle to put any of the albums that have come out in the last couple of years on the last album within the last like sort of 3 or 4 years that is even on my top 10 of the decade list. Probably Solange's most recent album.
Yeah, like
not
when you go to the edge,
at the table.
Cranes in the Sky, and then you
that's
got
a
a
great
little
song.
bit before that, you got Frank Ocean Nights, and then a little bit before that, you got Good Kid, Mad City, and then a little bit before that, you got Channel Orange, and then a little bit before that, you got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's great music. That's a great little 5-year run. After that, some mid. Not saying it's bad music, because like I preach now, like there's a certain level where you can't make bad music. Like Kanye can't make extremely bad music, but it's like it's not the greatest sound
Poop,
that
de scoop,
you've
de boo.
ever delivered to somebody. Like, it's not the greatest. It doesn't carry. Like, if music doesn't necessarily carry,
It's
you're
hard
not
though
doing
because
the artist
there
thing.
is also many factors.
You're not doing no. There's like the factor, which is, does it carry? And I want to stop doing this thing where like I get super educational about it, because I do that to myself, and like I overanalyze my own work, and it's like a reckless thing to do. It's like, does it carry or not? And if it doesn't, then you should just be okay with that as a rational thought, and just be like, no, it doesn't, but you can do the most to expose it to people and like make sure they understand that it's good work, but you just know it doesn't carry, but it's good work for you. And that's perfectly fine. But if your work doesn't carry through like a decade, like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, today you could play that. Today. In 5 years, will you be playing Jesus is King? I don't know. It's some mid. But at the same time, it's not bad music.
No, I get what you mean.
Or terrible music, I should say.
But it's like, man, I feel like there's so much to music.
Actually, not Jesus is King. Yay.
That there's got to be a heart, like, for it to affect people. There's got to be a heart in it and that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
like,
does it
with
carry?
Channel Orange, like,
fam, Pyramids.
Nuts album.
No, like, and the way he twisted Pyramids, like, bro, don't get me started. We have a docket. I don't want to do too much tangentially.
We can go, but there's something else I wanted to talk on just very briefly. IKEA. Did you listen to the IKEA?
Yeah.
Come on, that's I just the whole energy of that is just like, it's just sick.
You know what?
I was listening.
You
to
know
it,
what?
like, what?
I was listening to it, and I was thinking to myself, just on a plain management perspective, is this good placement?
Is it good placement?
Because let me tell you my breakdown. Because this is where I get into the not philosophical, but just theoretical and like just great marketing type shit. It's like it plays in IKEA Island. That is the market that it's made for, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at that. I was like, is this good placement for D Double? Like, what is Ireland as a grime capital, and does this resonate with the people there?
In Ireland.
Yeah.
Was it just specifically for Ireland?
No, it was like the place said IKEA Island, and that's where it that's just where it's situated. Cause where is IKEA? It's like in the Netherlands or something.
It's based in Sweden.
Wherever.
Yeah,
one of them
it's a
ways.
Swedish company.
Yeah, and like the reason I said Berlin is because I know a guy from Berlin that was at the Virgil Abloh release. Because I was looking at those two side by side, like Virgil Abloh, who's an architect, who's also a fashion designer. Shout out me, man, tangents. Is also a fashion designer. It's like, okay, yeah, an architect making products, right? And then you got D Double, who's like just a grime, like, type of figurehead forefather, whatever you want to call it. Not even just grime, garage as well. So you got that type of person, and it's like, it's an amazing thing that he's got, and he got an amazing bag, I'm sure of it. But what is the worth of that placement in comparison to someone like Virgil Abloh?
Do you know what? I think it's interesting. I think in the time we're in, and for who he is and what, because that's the funny thing is, like, you could look at it as like sort of a sellout thing, right? But I think he's got such a legacy already established, and it was done in such a way that You could look at it as, has it cheapened? Is it kind of cheapening what he's brought to the table? But I don't know. I think it. I don't think something like that can hurt D Double.
No,
even
like
a little
from
bit.
where we come from,
even
it's
from
like
a legacy,
it's like it would
perspective.
never. Like D Double is just the guy.
Yeah.
Full stop. You don't play with his name basically. So I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just thinking about.
And also, I don't think many people could have done it the way he done it.
No,
I don't.
like I
think
think about it like the battle rap animal things that
like Skepta couldn't have done nothing like that. Even Kano couldn't have done
no
it in the same way. Got away with it. I don't think any of those guys, even Getz, couldn't do it. None of them could have done it. Really.
Well, apart from Nasty and Jammer.
Yeah, Nasty could have.
Probably.
But it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have hit the same.
Yeah, because obviously D Double's got
Maybe
that sound.
maybe yeah. And the fact of how, like the fact of how of who he is, sort of adds to it a little bit, and the sort of unexpected nature of it.
Yo, if he got see, look, here's the thing. Here's my last thing on it. It's like if he got the in perpetuity bag,
Yeah,
it's different.
I get what you mean.
But if he got the little one-off tip, as a manager who understands what the advertising bag can bring, I wouldn't advise on it. Like, I would advise on Virgil Abloh working with IKEA because that boosts his profile and it boosts IKEA's profile.
He's going to be working on actual products that there is the sort of perpetuity bag, isn't there? That's different from...
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's
wait, was he in an ad for IKEA?
Who?
Virgil Abloh? Was he?
No,
he was making products.
He make products, tables, chairs,
that's different.
all the new things where we're talking about. What does the 35-year-old millennial household look like? What would our when we're 35? What would our house or apartment look like? What would the millennial bachelor look like? And all of these things, and that is the type of questions that he's answering with his work. That's completely different from what D Double is, but that placement is heroic. And then I started thinking about where would you place grime people, and then the thing is, because it's such embedded in the fabric of the culture, grime could be anywhere doing anything, and it could make sense, which is kind of like the place that I ended up. It's like you could do the English McDonald's ad, or you could do the Dove ad, or you could there's a grime artist for each individual type of creative, because really and truly, like, where you're gonna put them is in the creative of it. So if you're trying to sell a product to not even just a younger market, but just a more appropriate market, all the people that were jumping up in raves in 2000 are old and have kids, just like that couple in the video. So it's like, well, not old, but like they're older, they have money, and they got kids. So that doesn't mean that they don't know who D Double is. And that's kind of like the point. It's like grime has come to this point now where it's like the UK. It's not just
no, I feel you. It's like the sound of the UK. It's like the sound of the UK.
It's like people recognize it now as truly as an original UK sound. Oh yeah, fam.
Oh,
that fashion thing is different though.
It is. We'll just see how it plays, because I still think it adds to him. But the problem is, it's not like it was showing its face. It's not giving him any more. Like it's not like a thing where it's like he's going into a whole new market of people where it's gonna like give him more.
Who's where?
D Double. It's not like it's giving him more awareness for who he is or anything like that. It's kind of just a nod to all the people that do already know, and will be like, oh, yeah. Like it probably gives him more of a run up to another album or something like that. But even then, it's like that's not. I get what you're saying. It's like,
fam, if his management really do it correctly, it's like you can make him a household name, like just on the edge, and like just be a celebrity. Like he can be the local celebrity, like Ian Wright, if played right. But that's the thing. It's like, what are management doing with artists?
Because you don't really see him. He's different. He's not really like a public eye kind of guy.
No,
That's the funny
just
thing.
chills, just does the couple tunes and stuff.
How old is Dido now, actually? Got to be getting older.
Wait, I'm 20. So I'm 20. So that means these guys got to be probably like 35, 36.
39.
39. Up there.
Man's
up there.
almost 40.
Up there. Wait, so that means Skepta's 36. And, wait, Skepta's.
Jammer's 37. Kenna's only 34.
Yeah, fam.
Gets 35. P-Money's only 30. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes hella sense.
Chipmunk as well is
Wiley's
30.
40.
Well, I know Chipmunk is like 28.
Little bizzle.
But yeah.
Mad. Yeah. Crazy.
All of that.
It all makes sense though. You know what I mean? It's like that is almost that move. It's like, you know what, let me get the bag real quick.
Yeah, fam.
You know?
That makes sense, man.
But it's not like
They got
it's
the
not an eye
bag.
roll. It's like yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like fair play. But anyway, yeah, I think we should move into our chat about Pharrell, that conversation he had
Ooh.
with the old legend that is
The Rubinister.
the Rubinister, Ricky Rubes.
The Rube.
The
you-
Rubinister.
Do you know what a Rube is?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, never mind.
You mean
then.
like Ruby?
No. A Rube is like someone you can do over. I don't know how else you can put it. But yeah. It depends on how you use words. These are old American words.
Oh, Ruby.
Yeah, someone that you can hustle or something like that.
Oh, okay, someone who gets hustled.
Yeah.
The more you know.
I don't
think I'm
wild
never
stuff
gonna
like
use
that.
it.
Ever.
Huh?
But like
You don't what?
Huh?
You don't what? You said I don't something myself like that. Don't tell me you just forgot what you said. You said I don't wire myself like that or something like that.
Fam, you're
Your
gonna have to
brain
play
is
that back, you know.
Right.
You have to play that
You said-
back.
I don't something myself like that, you know, because I said I don't think I'm ever gonna eat. I was like, I can't remember what I said. Anyway, yeah. So this chat.
But yeah. Pharrell. And them man there, fam. You see that
There's
conversation,
some
yeah?
gems in there. Like I remember we. Was
That
talking
conversation
about
was boring.
it. Yeah, and you said it's boring. And I feel you.
And I have to
It
say,
wasn't the most engaging.
yeah, it wasn't. There shouldn't really be long form content out there like that for that in that way. I see why there are professionals. There are professional conversationalists.
Lists.
Nullers.
Conversationalists.
So and
Conversationalists.
and professional small talkers. But here's the thing: it's just two people with a mutual respect of each other's craft.
Mm.
Like, there's no saying that they should have compelling conversation because their stories in itself, whenever they decide to talk about themselves, is compelling. But you got two introverts that really don't like talking about themselves.
Mm.
So now you've got this weird predicament where it's like, these men are just sitting there kind of trying to bounce the ball back, and then it's kind of like in the air, Eiffel Tower type tip.
Mm.
But yeah, like, there was gems in there. Like, I like the way that Pharrell was talking about how he was trying to discover going from one chord to the next, and like
No, that was one of the
whatever.
most interesting things. And actually, it's such an interesting way to look at it. It is. Because when, like, I don't know how much piano you've actually played or any instruments at all, but
no.
it's so interesting when, especially when you're trying to like build a song or whatever. And because me, I like sort of the sort of discovery process of putting different chords together and kind of like trying to find the complexity that's cohesive with each chord that goes together, and then like having that as the foundation to build the bass and all the other melodies around, and then the drums. And because a lot of the time I start with drums, but like when I make, like over the past like year or two, like I've been focusing more on just like the chords and trying to understand those more, and the process of like figuring the chords that will be the foundation for a whole song. It's so interesting because it's true. You're like trying to find a place that feels a certain way. It has got that kind of thing. It's like when you walk, it's like when you hear notes in a song, like the first like sort of melodies in a song, whether that be the chords or the melodies that are the foundation for the chords. You go to a place, don't you? You listen to a song for a certain vibe, and it is kind of that feeling of when you walk into a certain room that gives you an essence. It's like if you go to a abandoned house or whatever, or you go into somewhere that's like really nice and clean, or you go somewhere there's like books all over the place, or you go to a library, you get that different essence.
Yeah, I don't apply music like that. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fair enough. But it's like there's a feeling that you think that you get when you hear a certain song, and when you go down to the core of it, what makes a song feel a certain way, it's the chords. Sometimes it's the rhythms and the textures, but I think largely it's the way the notes go, the notes of the chords go from one to the next, and each chord gives that melody context, because the chords are just melodies stacked upon each other, aren't they? But it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah,
but
like, I like the way that Tyler the Creator talks about chords more than I like hearing Pharrell talk about it.
Really?
Yeah, because he's just more relatable. Like when
how does he talk about chords? I haven't heard.
Like he just talks about them. He doesn't even talk about them in that type of analogous way. It's like just more of a understanding that you do this with the keys and this happens. Not so of like you taking someone to a place, but it's more so of a discovery. So,
which is how he describes it.
Like,
he says chords are
kind of like yeah, like
so.
I kind of understand that in a way, but if you look up in the sky and look at stars, you can't really see them. So if like this depends on how much you understand what a constellation is. But yeah, I understand him when he like, cause really the word he means.
No, he didn't say constellations.
Cluster.
Take that away. Let me change that. That's not what he said. He didn't say chords are constellations. He says chords are coordinates.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I was like waiting a wall, but no, that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. And like I just like, you know, when Tyler Creator talks about progressions, like the reason why I care so much about Stevie Wonder and all of that stuff is not just because everybody rips his music, but because well, actually it's a lot, like that's a lot of it. Like me, I like to go to the source a lot of the time. Like whenever I realize that's like, and then when I listen to songs in the key of life, and then I deeped how many times this song has been used as a sample, and it's like, oh, and now I've got like a playlist on Spotify full of samples, and it's like this weird little space that it's just all sample worthy songs, I should say. So it's just this like, it just lives, like just having a place where songs live and capturing a moment in that song and using it for your own song. Because when he starts talking about silk and rayon, I understand kind of what he's saying, but it is like in a better way or better terminology or fashion way of saying it is like referencing, which is really what it is. It's like how you see someone's concept or where they were going with something, and then you use it for your own concept. It doesn't mean that you're copying what they're doing. It just means that you saw the light in what they were doing. I wanted to add it to your own thing. But there's some people that directly involve the sample or even the original song within it, like how Tory Lanez is doing with T-Pain's one and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense because he's got T-Pain part of it and all of that stuff. But Tory Lanez is still acquiring his own sound and like still flipping it in a certain type of way. But just like when you have like someone like Stevie Wonder, who's just the best. Like it's weird. It's like I just kind of have to say he's the best in a weird way because he made the music, he composed it for the most part, and it's
Wait,
being
is this
Stevie Wonder,
Stevie Wonder? Yeah, sorry.
and it carries. So
Yeah, he made timeless music.
and it's like it's just it's a beautiful thing, right? But then like when you start talk about the way that hip hop does it, it's like you gotta kind of snatch from the past a little bit and give to the present. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what actually that understanding our mind has of an old song being presented to us again, and us caring about that song. Because when you have a tune nowadays that's sample heavy, you like it almost straight away. And I have no reason why I like it, which is why, like I told you before, I'm so adverse to those type of tunes, because it's like it's made for me to like it, and I don't know what is forcing me to like something like that. And yeah, I just like it's an interesting predicament, that whole place of like referencing and like originality and what is originality and all of that stuff.
Well, yeah, because like even when he goes into, and it's so funny how they actually got away with actually going through with a lawsuit when the notes wasn't the same, the chords, like the actual chords, like weren't the same, and it was just the vibe that he caught from it was so similar.
Yeah, I never knew that. I thought he just remade something, but like nothing was the same.
Nothing was the same.
Shout out Drake. Head in the sky type shit.
But see, that's what's mad is like how they still got away with the lawsuit, and it was it was like 15 mil. It was something crazy.
Yeah,
I think it was even more
no,
than
that would scare me. That would absolutely scare me. The fact that someone's saying that I stole from them, but what I made is nothing like what they were making. But it depends.
Oh, okay, take that. Scratch that. It was 5 mil.
Oh,
but still,
no, it's like it changes what the notion of stealing music is. So it was like more than just 5 mil. And like we didn't see how much they actually got of the song. I don't know whether they got 90%.
Did they get some of the song as well?
Yeah, like usually they get 90% of the rights. Like that's happened with Juice WRLD's tune. Like Juice WRLD had to give up 90%.
Do you know what? But do you know what? It's to be fair, because that song, it was literally just the sample of the guitar. They took that and made the friggin' tune.
Exactly.
But that's a payday. Because that song was like a hit of hits.
Yeah, but it gave like Juice WRLD the exposure. And the thing is, if he's an actual artist,
yeah, he'll be able to do it again.
And that's the test. It's like,
that's why you got to not really get worried about that. Like for the reasons that you're doing. Obviously, it's hard. It's hard because when you know you made a hit, it's not an easy thing to make a hit, and it's not really something that's in your hands. So it's like when you've been grinding for a certain amount of time to make something like that.
Yeah,
you're going to. It's not about not being annoyed about it or being set back, because that's not like you're gonna feel how you feel about it. But I guess the way to fight against something like that happening is just to keep doing what you do best, isn't it?
You see why like I'm not in music right now, because I don't understand the state of music as it stands right now.
You don't understand it.
Yeah, like it doesn't. Music today doesn't make sense. Everything about it, the way it's compensated, even when like you were talking about looking at the numbers on Emotional Oranges and stuff like that, all of that just doesn't make sense. Like you can have millions of streams, basically platinum, but because of what a stream counts as,
Yeah,
Like,
it's because of the way the music industry's set up.
because you know a stream isn't really a stream, it's exposure. Like a song isn't really a song, it's the exposure. Now if somebody wants to be a musician, that's different. But once you get the exposure, you can pretty much do whatever you want because you got the capital or cachet from the public of your face being recognizable and whatever you've done being recognizable, because it's just hard to do that. There's a small number of the population that actually has recognizable things. But that
it's because of who's
it doesn't make
park
sense.
the ball is in. It's the same thing with how sort of it's different, but it's like with Facebook monopolizing all the social medias and like just singular entities monopolizing.
Facebook isn't Facebook doesn't monopolize.
Well, no, not yet, but
I think it's weird saying that because people choose to download Instagram and WhatsApp.
Yeah.
The fact that one company owns all of those things is different. But the fact that, like, because I believe it was last week's episode, we were talking about influence, innit? And like, when you got so much influence, a lot of people get scared about the influence that you can have. And it's like, to be fair, it's like everything that we've been speaking about. So you got like SoundCloud, where it's like all the artists were making money from SoundCloud, but SoundCloud wasn't making money. They were losing money, bleeding it, in fact.
That's funny though, because
when people were uploading to YouTube was compensating heavily early and losing a lot. And now it's like reversed. So only YouTube gets the money, and like the creators.
I've heard even YouTube are also in that same situation.
They are, but it's like they're also a search engine, and they're also owned by Google, which is the biggest advertising platform in the world. So it's like, excuse me, when somebody has control of it, like the way that they have control of it now, because like there was a time when you Googled something and it was like the list came up of the things that you needed to see, and now it's the list of things they want you to see because of the people that paid the most.
See, that's what I mean. But that's what I'm talking about, because it's like when monopolizing probably isn't the right word, but my point is when there's just one person in broad control over the services that, because you've got a choice, but the choice is either don't use it, don't take a part in these things where you still have the chance to to use it to make opportunities, because obviously it's not all bad. Like at the end of the day, it's probably harder now to create opportunities on these social media platforms or whatever, like, than it was 5 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago. It's probably a lot harder, but you're still able to do that. It's either pull out of that and don't have that opportunity at all, or take part in it, still get effed over every once in a while, and keep it moving. But I think the same thing's happening with music. It's like you got there's only a certain amount of people within music who are artists, who are like signed artists, or even independent artists that are actually making money, like money where they're making like big money. Like you're able to. There's loads of artists as well that are living and they're like they've got it as jobs and they can make
fairly
music
decent.
And they can, like, it's possible that, like, it's possible.
Yeah,
it's harder. But that's the funny thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come to that
music.
point. I'm gonna come to that point because I think, like, that is, if there's any game you're gonna play, I actually think that is the the more meaningful way to actually play, and that's
Which
not
one?
the sort of, as you were saying, like the middle class of music. Even though I don't necessarily look at it like that, it's the aim and the focus of your audience, because and it's not necessarily the middle class music. There is a middle class music because that's what people, those are people who are comfortable with that situation. They're able to make the music they want to make, and they can just tour, and they're not aiming to like sell out arenas or stadiums or whatever. That's not necessarily what they're doing. But the funny thing is, once you get a little bit of notoriety and you're making good music that speaks to a lot of people, the funny thing about music is at any moment you could go from just having like that living as a musician, which is actually an incredible thing, to be earning like 50k 60k like just on a mad one, as a musician making music you want to make. Like, to be honest, if you're doing that, you've got more than enough opportunity. You're already in the ballpark of possibly shooting off in a mad direction. Yeah, you might not necessarily be an Ed Sheeran or a Chance the Rapper or whatever, but
you mean Tyler the Creator?
Huh?
Well, Tyler the Creator.
What do you mean?
Tyler the Creator is like actually wait, no, Ed Sheeran or Drake, innit? Those are the two that you would compare it to or something.
No,
like
Ed Sheeran and Chance the Rapper. I was just talking about like in terms of your notoriety, like your because look, because remember when Chance the Rapper was like, he is independent, but even with Ed Sheeran, well, yeah, exactly. But my point is, you go from being that
relative obscurity
to you are permeated. Like, you'll hear parents talking about that person.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah,
that level
yeah.
Oh, Chance the Rapper was on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, I love a bit of Chance the Rapper, but you just hear it and it's a song that's about, you know what I mean? Like
no.
When you go from that level of like, oh, who's that? Even though you might be huge and you earn a load of money and you're living as a successful musician.
That's Tyler the Creator as well.
To go into exactly.
Yeah.
Tyler Creator,
like Clap Frogno's going on right now.
Ed Sheeran's a good example of how that happened to him.
Ed Sheeran's such a great example of that.
Yeah, Chance the Rapper is a great example. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, no, I get you now.
You've got the opportunity as and because the reason why I was talking about Facebook monopolizing and Google and that is because the same things happened to YouTube essentially, and it's actually kind of scary because remember how free YouTube used to feel? Yeah, it was exactly like how SoundCloud is, and it's the same sort of. It's almost the same model as it is with the sort of music industry, I see it as, because you're kind of that, like, everyone who uses the service is just seen as a commodity in a weird way. There's not really that strong a relationship because even though they're used as advertising boards, the most important people are actually the people who are paying for the advertisements. That's it. Like, they're the most important people to the company. Yeah. And rightly, in a logical way, rightly so, because that's how everyone's keeping the lights on. That's how everyone's keeping things moving.
Yeah, if you want to still be able to upload to this platform for free and do all of this stuff for free, like, the advertiser are going to have to... Yeah, but if you want to even get paid from your upload.
Is when it gets down, because you see how everyone's getting demonetized now. And
yeah. Okay, here's my thing, though. Because I was literally thinking about this while you were talking, like, well, not just right now, but in the earlier part, like, I was thinking, how much are you willing to do for free for 1 million people to know who you are? And I'm actually talking about know who you are. Like, 1 million individual people. Your brand, like, just saying your name. Knowing your name, having an affiliation with your name and liking that affiliation. Like, how much are you willing to do for free?
So that million first. So your point is to say that first 1 million people is purely just the process of you to discover who you are.
I'm just asking, like, how much are you willing to do for free? Like, if like, we're talking about demonetizing and all of this, like, let's talk about Juice WRLD now. It's like, he made one tune and hundreds of millions of people know him. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that he can sell out whole arenas. It just means that there's a plethora of people. Well, not even a plethora of people. There's just a widespread amount of people around the world that know him in different little type of pockets, right? And they congregate in one space called a show, and they see him play, or, well, he doesn't play, sing or rap or whatever he does, right?
He's actually quite a good rapper, to be fair.
He's a stuff like like, I've seen his freestyle. He's does he make great music? Yeah. I don't know, like,
sing or rap or whatever he does. Yeah, I'm not.
You know what I mean, fam? I'm not trying to shoot shots at anybody because, you know, like, but if I was his manager, I don't know what I'd do.
What with that situation?
Yeah, like I actually wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't like. Do you just play festivals for a long time and then like get yourself known all around the world? You build relationships, or do you actually start like you're new and you go to little shows like 1,000 people venues even, and you just work your way all the way around like the northwest, the southeast, the Bible Belt, and you go all the way through, and then you do the university tour, and then you come to England, and then you go to Europe, do a couple of the festivals, and that's your first year and a half of the thing, and then you drop your first album. Like there's this whole track that you can do as an artist, right? When, like, because a lot of people know you, and how do you capture that money? It's really hard. It's really hard to capture that money. It's really hard to capture the people that are willing to pay for you.
Yeah.
And
well, it's got to be more than just them seeing your name in a particular place.
And like, see, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, how much is that million people worth to you? Like, okay, let's say you can't monetize your video and get 1,500, which is what like 1,000,000 views would be or something like that. Let's say your video has like, well, I'm just saying 1,000,000 people, not views, but people, right? 1,000,000 people know you wherever they are. How much is that worth? Because you could sell something to those 1,000,000 people for £30, and that could be worth a lot to you if you can capture 10% of that. But that all depends. Like, how much are you willing to give away for free to get that £30? And that's a question that like you gotta ask yourself nowadays on the platforms that we have. Because I haven't even got to my real point, which is, all like, this isn't the internet. What we're talking about, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Google, that's not the internet. Those are tools made for usage of certain things. The internet is us being able to be in one space or be connected to some type of server. But when you build a tool on top of that called a Google, like, remember when you could barely... Who remembers that when Google first came out and then you could just kind of Google stuff? Like, you couldn't really Google anything. Well, like when YouTube first came out, which is a better example, and there wasn't really that many videos on YouTube. And you just had to... And whatever you YouTubed, it was either not found or it was exactly what you were looking for.
Yeah.
And like exactly what you were looking for, not the fakes, not the I'm trying to capture attention with this video and stuff like that, but exactly what you were looking for. That's completely different to now, where it's 100 types of fakes.
Think about how much information YouTube has.
It has a ridiculous amount of information, and it's like
more than just the... Because that's the interesting thing about YouTube. You've got everything that people have typed in, looked for, questions they've asked, almost just as much as Google. But you've also got all the uploaded information that people have put on the internet with relation to in relation to the things that they've created and images of the world, and there's ways that they could probably just stitch so much of it together to make a chronological account of just so much. You know, there's just such a ridiculous archive, like visually, when you actually deep it.
Yeah.
And all the things that were happening at particular times, in particular places, with particular people. It's not.
Yeah. Like, I'm really and truly stunned. Like, there can be another YouTuber. Who are the people that are willing to upload to that daily, and what is the compensation
I
for
think
that?
it's too much at this point. I think it's going to be a whole different... It's going to just be a whole different platform. The same way, at this point that we're at now, I believe it's going to be a whole... What?
I was gonna say something,
Where'd you go?
but nah.
Are you saving that for the bank?
Yeah, because I already know what the next 5-6 years is. I already know that. Like, I not to say that I'm some genius or anything, but this is something that I've been studying for a very long time, and it's been a ridiculously long time. And we've kind of spoke about it, but it's not like we've said before. It's like it's not a podcast conversation. There are just certain things that aren't for the podcast. But yeah, speaking about that, let's get back to the podcast. What is next on the docket?
Yeah, no,
because that's industrious conversation there.
We was gonna we was gonna talk a bit about. I feel like we're going back now almost though. Like I was gonna talk just a bit about Pharrell's catalogue and just some of the things, because we had a bit of a conversation, because my musical journey didn't really make sense to you.
Yeah,
yeah.
And let's find a timestamp. Oh, wrong. Okay. Yeah.
Get it moving. Yeah, like, because my musical journey didn't really make sense to you.
No, mainly because of Kanye West. Like, how does Kanye West not fit in?
He does. But he was one of the first albums, because there's 2 albums I remember specifically asking for in my youth. So when I was in primary school, I was like in year 5, I specifically asked for the Busted album.
Yeah, I think I got that as well. Yeah, 3000 things.
I specifically asked
got
my parents.
Spice Girls, all of that.
I was like, Mum, I need this album. You know what I mean? And it's largely because, all your friends are, everyone in your class had it, so you're like, yeah, we can all kind of talk about it, blah 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 blah. Are you angry? Bro? You upset? No, look at it. Look at that wide. Look at that wide lens, fam. Can you see it right there? Yeah. Say nada. You inspired me though. It's all thanks to you. The time has come though. Imagine, look, I'm going on a tangent, but I just want to make this point. The one thing, it got to the point, saying that, I had that phone for 2 years. It was a 4-year-old phone. Before that, I had the iPhone 5S.
We kind of had the same phone.
But it was I had that for 2 years. But by the time I finished it, I only had it for 2 years. It was fresh when I got it. Had it for 2 years. Literally, it got to the point where when I was using it, I would charge it, leave for work, my house. By the time I got to London Bridge, and bear in mind, that's a 30-minute journey, 35-minute journey. It went from 100% to 40.
That's exactly.
So by the time I'm getting to work, it's about 20%. That's normal use.
I can't even leave my house.
You know what I mean? Which is nice, because now this has got a whole day of battery on the new iOS. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, breathe a little bit. But anyway, no, musical journey. So the reason Kanye West, Busted was one of the first albums I got ever. Whoa. But Kanye West was the second. Between that, I had listened to Pharrell. We had it just that was one of the albums we just had in the house or whatever.
Yeah.
But Kanye West Late Registration, that is a moment. That there was a whole year or 2 where I was listening to that. That was a keystone.
That you are a champion. Hey,
you know what I mean?
Yes,
hey
I
mama.
did. Fam, I love that.
You joking? Even the one with Adam Levine, that's a beautiful song. Or even Drive Slow, homie. You don't even know, homie. You need to pump the brakes and drive slow, homie.
Yeah, I love it. All of those tunes are waves. Fam.
It's so crazy though, but that's what I'm saying.
That last decade was different.
And Kanye West, and that's what I'm saying. It's I'm sure. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, by the time it got to there, I just feel like the lens of for what I was looking for in music. Because look, music has always been a thing where it's either grabbed me or it hasn't. You know, it's there's a mixture of once I got past a certain age, I was actively looking for a specific sound, particular sounds.
Yeah.
With the whole R&B thing and grime, those were just things where I was into because at the time that was what was about, really. You know, it just even though not loads of people weren't necessarily listening to because I grew up in bloody Belvedere era and stuff like that, so it wasn't like there was loads of people listening to grime per se, but a lot of my friends would be bumping Jamie and Skepta and Face FX, that website he had. I remember there was times where we'd just go home after school and watch these videos and just chat shit, like, and that was why that was like a moment. And it was the same. And as I got older and I got into college, just after secondary school, I actually started to get into music and start looking for it properly.
Yeah.
Like, I started going, oh, these are the kind of sounds I like garagey.
That's weird, fam. That's 2010.
It's funny because, like, I'm mad into garage, but I kind of skipped over dubstep. And Jack,
I didn't skip over dubstep.
He bangs dubstep, like Benga, Koki.
Benga.
All of those guys. I can't, Scream.
Scream's good.
Malar, all those guys. He's
back
mad
in the day.
He's but that's what I'm saying. He's mad into those guys, and for me, I got more into the. Do you know when Mount Kimby? No, but see, that's more like, you know what I mean? That's when it kind of went to EDM, like, and what's his name? Skrillex started grabbing it, but like,
yeah, I didn't listen to it then. I listened to it when it was like subtracts and shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. There was that transition. Like 2010 was the time when I'd say I was most musically inspired by this. Like that from 2010 to 2014, I was actively looking for music.
But saying that,
I was actively. I'm talking
but
like I would
SoundCloud.
have moments and days where I'd sit down and search for music.
We had SoundCloud and that's it. Like,
we had SoundCloud, yeah,
but
that was it.
I
was just deep on the internet. I would be going through blogs. I would be I would like, you know what I mean? That'd be part of my day. That'd be part of my life.
Different lifestyles. Fam.
Yeah, well, it's time as well. It's like nowadays, unless like searching for music isn't necessarily bringing me as much value in the life that I'm currently living right now as it once did.
That's nuts.
You know?
I don't know why I find it nuts, but I just find it nuts.
What do you find nuts?
I don't know. It's just the factor that you are in music and you are a producer. So yeah, like I just imagine, like what I imagine of a producer is listening to basically all the sounds that you could possibly absorb.
That I do that.
Then,
I do that.
Just keeping your own pocket. Like, you're not really trying to recreate a sound. You can sample a sound and do all of that weird type stuff, but I just find it more understanding if you just were a musicologist, basically.
The funny thing is, I am, and it's just very different because the way that I look at it, it's like before I was looking for new music, new. Now that I've seen, I can see how music is, and I'm always open. The beauty of it is I'm always open, and that's why I still keep on the thumb of the pulse of people, like, and why you'll still hear me sometimes here, oh, have you heard this person? Have you seen this project? Have you da-da-da? Because my finger's on the pulse to an extent still.
I thought you were going to say because you keep touching people like me, that's why your finger's on the pulse.
No. But we both interact. A lot of our conversations are about music, so we both show each other things that we might not have seen.
But yeah,
so but my point
you're
is
out there searching.
But my point is
open to.
It's like I'm open to listening to someone like Doja Cat, and I listen to it. I look at them as I look at artists as a whole now. Though I look at artists as a whole, so it's like I'll still listen to the music and I'll see what. Yeah,
we're gonna actually have to have a real talk about this off. Like just to, like, because I feel like I understand now that it's just strategy more so than just sport. I think that's what I've understood now. It's just strategy outside, like, because with me there's still like there's a little bit of strategy into it because I know what certain people are doing. But I still have the sport of like discovering a new song that somebody else hasn't heard before.
That's what I was on. I was on
just
that.
like
I was on that hard. I was like, I wanted. Next time I saw my friend, I would be like, yeah, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Have you heard this? Have you heard this? Like 10 different songs, and I know that they're gonna be like, what?
Because that's what me and my brothers do like all the time. It's like we make like. To be fair, I just want to have fun music conversations, or more than anything. So it's like, and it's the same thing with TV shows as well. It's like, if there's a great TV show, you need to listen to it. I don't need to listen to a great new music from a new artist. I don't find like I've already filled up my plate with all of this music that I know what the extras should be now to my life. So it's like after I listened to Stevie Wonder, I understand like I've already understood like 20 years worth of music that I've listened to just in my life, and then I go back to Stevie Wonder and like he just wipes off all of that stuff, and it's like, okay, so and then like, because I didn't want to listen to Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, all of the old cats without buying their music. That was like one of my main things when I was a kid. Like when I was like early in uni and stuff, I wouldn't listen to Michael Jackson because like that was back when the torrent days and all that stuff in it. So I wouldn't listen to Michael Jackson, wouldn't listen to Stevie Wonder, wouldn't listen to Nina Simone. So when Spotify came along and I heard all of them, it was like, shit, so this is real music. And then everything changed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why when I listened to, it's the same thing when I listened to D'Angelo. I think from that point I started going back. Because when I was listening to electronic stuff, I was going forward. But it's funny because the same thing that happened with dance music, same thing that happened to Selection is, like most people, whilst you're in that place of obscurity, you're experimenting, you're figuring stuff out, and that's where most of your most interesting stuff comes. And as you start to sort of leave that, it's like now a lot of the people in Selection, they're making tunes for some of the biggest artists. They're making tunes for people like Chris Brown. They're making tunes for people like Drake. For Rihanna and stuff like that. There's literally people within that SoundCloud community that are doing that shit now. Like that's their lives. You know what I'm saying? And it's a different world. So it's like now the climate's so different. And I don't think it's necessarily the climate's. That's not necessarily why it contributes to it, and it's a big reason of like. But it's also in conjunction with the fact that I've looked back. I know now how everything beforehand has started to inform everything that I once was so interested in, and also what's going to come after it. So it's like now for me to be truly and deeply invested in a lot of the new sounds that are coming about, I have to see how it just has to affect me, you know?
The only thing that's gotten better is hip hop, to be fair.
Huh?
I said the only thing that's gotten better is hip hop. Like nothing, like there's like, because I remember when I went back to listen to The Message and Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 and Wu-Tang Clan, which is obviously still one of the best, but like that was one out of like, you can name 10 artists from that decade or 10 artists groups from that decade, and that would be the only 10 artists and groups that were popping. And Wu-Tang Clan wasn't even popping back then, like if we're going to be 100% real with it. And like the only time hip-hop got popping is in the 2000s. It's when Diddy had a hold of it and we were listening to Mace, and it's like you wanna be a nasty girl, wanna be a nasty girl, that like all of that tunes. And it's like
I also think it's too easy to make music now as well. I think that also contributes to it.
No, I don't even know whether it's too easy to make music. I just think a lot more shit people think that they can get away with rubbish.
Well, no,
tunes.
but the thing is they are getting away with it. That's it's not even about thinking. That's why I say that it's too easy to make music, because you can say it's about people thinking they can get away with making rubbish tunes, but the truth of the matter is they are getting away with making rubbish tunes. There's loads of people getting away with it, and it's purely because now...
I don't know whether I want to have this conversation right now.
No, I get you. But I think that's why it's like...
Because I have a whole thing about this, and it's just... I don't... like, because it's not classified as music. That's it. Plain and simple. That's not music.
Well, it does all the things that music does.
It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
Because tell me 5 artists from 2 years ago that were doing that thing and are still doing that thing.
Mm.
Name me all
Yeah.
the artists that are doing it this year, and we will not be talking about them in 2023. I promise
I
you.
completely
I
agree.
can bet a grand on it.
But that doesn't mean it's not having an effect on the people that do make music.
Excuse me? I am still listening to Sir, Snow Allegra,
I feel you.
Lucky Day.
I feel you.
Like
I
that
feel
music
you, but
right there.
my point is that doesn't mean that
Like
the
when we're
people-
having
that
barbecues.
hold up, the people
Shit.
people that are diluting it for other reasons and intents and purposes doesn't mean that they're not affecting it adversely.
I don't even call it diluting, fam. They're doing what they like I said, like there's this like mantle that's floating on top. Like the cream always rises to the top. You talk about the mantle, there's a sea, the ocean bed, and then you got like the wavy stuff in the middle. The lava pit thing. That's the middle class of music with like the rubbish and shit. You feel me? And that is what all of these people are doing. It's like kind of keeping the music industry afloat. And that's what's happening. The music industry is staying afloat by pumping up all of these artists. So people are actually making their salaries or getting ready to get paid efficiently because of these artists, so that they can carry on and wait for the actual next big thing. Because if these houses, or I should say banks, shut down, then they can't shut down. The banks, the government will bail them out anyways.
Mhm.
They're institutions. So it's like, when we're really thinking about it, what's the guy, Lucian Grange? He owns basically the whole music industry.
Mhm.
Well, like, we can't like discount the fact that he is like the sole proprietor. Like, that's a real monopoly right there.
Mm.
Not even music industry. Someone owns the whole of rap, basically.
Mm.
That's wild in my mind. Someone owns the whole of rap, but imagine that one person at the top of, what's it called again? What's that? Universal Music Group, is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one person there or that one corporation owns all of these other entities, all of these other little houses. People gotta eat, fam. Gotta make payroll.
Mhm.
And that's just the fact of the matter.
Mm.
That's why we've got all the artists that we have in London. I don't even know if I want to name them, but that's why we got them guys, fam. Because people need to make payroll, really and truly. And that's not saying to me that it's music. But if I want to be nice and political about it, then cool. Then that's music, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because
but
when
my point is,
who's a good artist that came out recently from the UK? Because we spoke about a lot of American ones.
there's definitely some we could talk about.
Like, because I like Samwise, I like A2.
Yeah, all them guys.
I like
what is it? Who is he? What's his crew?
Octavian.
Samwise's crew. Samwise brings.
Yeah,
some interesting
House of
stuff to the
Pharaohs.
table. Yeah, they're pretty.
And
good.
I like Slowthai for the creativity. I like understanding.
Really hesitated on that. He was like,
I like because it's not necessarily for his rapping. It's the fact that he's representing a part of Britain that no one gets to see. Like, he's representing that white guy in the middle of Britain that's part of the industrious part of side of Britain where the jobs were ripped away from them. And this generation's kind of dealing with that fall off still. Like, their dad still being alcoholics, or their parents coming back from the war, or like just having to deal with the pressures of even being like, either what the best thing to do is either go into the military, well, it's not military, go into the army, or pick up a trade, or go to London where you're going to be battling with not just the white elite but now the new black elite as well. And they've got like this mad inferiority complex from not being from London or Manchester or Cardiff, or Cardiff, or what's another place? Birmingham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Newcastle.
Like, the only thing that you can do is like get an internship in Amsterdam or something, come back and see what you can do and boogie, like, because really, when you want to fight with the big dogs, you're gonna have to be built a certain type of way. And Slowthai is telling me that he's built a certain type of way, artistically, and like content wise, I haven't really absorbed him all the way.
No, it's cool. His video, like what it is his performances. You can see the way he performs on not just on a song, but the visual.
Yeah, like I wanna rip
this stuff.
all of that away, because I've always got that like seared into the back of my mind, which is great for one
But
part.
how much of that is
But how much of the content
him?
is yeah? Because
No,
like
I was
Britain-
saying, that's literally
Britain and fashion and everything, like it's all about the artsy stuff and like, you know, everything around the clothes. But when you start looking at Britain, it's like really what we care about is being sartorially inclined and like the tailoring and the shoes. And that's where all the great shoemakers are. Even funny fact is like in Northampton, like that's where they are.
Interesting.
Like, if you want to get great shoes, you go to Northampton. And everyone that's sartorially inclined knows that. But yeah, if you want to get great suits, you go to Savile Row. It's the exact same thing. But yeah, so what is, like, does he have Savile Row level content in his bars? Like, is he a Kano of Northampton, or is he just one of these new artsy dons? And that's the question that I'm asking myself, really. So when I say create, because I can't take away anything from creatively, because to me, that's amazing. Like visual, like artistic director. Like if he does it by himself, that's artistic director galore. Like I want that type of talent within my company or something. But when it comes to an artist that runs the UK, I'm asking for a little bit more than just cool videos and probably great stage performances. You feel me?
So I feel you. It's interesting. Well, yeah, because with that we're sort of talking about the whole catalogue thing, innit? And I think music's in a weird place, and I think a lot of people now, more so than ever, are actually getting disillusioned with it, because even a lot of the bigger artists, we was having another discussion yesterday about J. Cole and Dreamville, and everything that's going on with them and the artist that is not just on their rosters, but himself, J. Cole himself, his legacy, him being ready to fall off. Because I think
his new album called The Fall Off.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
because it's with me, it's usually every other J. Cole album. So, well, actually,
you like Forest Hill Drive?
Yeah, I love Forest Hill Drive. I love Friday Night Lights.
You didn't like
I liked Spawn
Your Eyes
Sinatra.
Only.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like KOD. I really just felt like he didn't understand us. Like, he didn't come from the Kano perspective. He came from the looking down perspective. He wasn't on our level.
Yeah, but I think, do you know what?
He wasn't dealing with the pain that we were dealing with.
To be fair, he humbled. I feel like he slowly began to face up to that, and just from what I've seen him talk about, and even with just the way he sort of, I think him jumping into the kind of hits that he did, and just some of the songs that he's worked on, I think he's sort of humbled himself from that perspective and kind of.
Yeah, like his stuff on Revenge of the Dreamers, like it's more his pace, right? And that is great. It's like, but when you talk about the new school or like just the me school, which is like funny because I'm not really a part of it, but I know that place. It's like hard for me to listen to someone like J. Cole speak like that about some shit like that, which is why when it comes to The Fall Off, like I'm hoping this is going to be like a great album about just himself, introspective, black album type stuff, and like really give it all. At least that is my hope. Like I can't even say what he should or shouldn't do as an artist, but like really I just want something great if this is going to be his last album. Yeah, fam.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because like,
we'll see. You can never know. I just think he's in, like, just as a creative, like he's in a good place. You know what I mean? He's done all that he really needs to do within music. He's got a great roster of artists underneath him.
Has
A
he?
lot of great talent. Yeah, Earthgang.
No, I
are great.
mean, has he
JID.
done everything he needs to do?
Maybe not every. Well, within rap.
JID and Reason is so sick, fam. Sorry.
No, JID's crazy. JID's
Have you listened to
crazy.
Reason? Reason.
What is it? His album?
No, have you listened to
song.
Reason?
No. That's what I'm saying. What's Reason? Is it?
Yeah,
it just a
Reason's
song?
got a good album.
Reason? No, I haven't.
Reason's an artist, yeah.
But see, that's what I mean.
From TDE,
I think
the new ones.
why I'm saying I think he's done. I wouldn't say he's done like he's completely finished, but I don't think that's necessarily with him rapping. Is my point. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think like he's done everything he needs to do in rap. I think now it's just a case of he's got great artists to work with. It's how those are his contribution. Now it's a focus of contribution and how he guides them and gives them great careers. And I think through them, he's going to be able to sort of further craft his own legacy and his message and everything like that. And
That sounds
and you can see
great.
the way he's created something like Revenge of the Dreamers. That's a big ass statement, man. No one else has done something like that. No one else has given a genuine platform that's given a direct link and in. There's to the point where there's people in those sessions asking for photos with him. So you can tell those are people, those aren't industry people that are coming in there. Those are people who are still on the come up, on the rise, who are trying to figure things out. And because they're making
That was a great
music,
business move.
it's great. They're making great music, of course, 100%. But there's a bit more than that because there's not an
See it
instant.
as a business move.
You see it as a business move.
That's
Yeah, it is a
100%
business move. But I also,
Because he doesn't know anyone, he works by himself. He's like known for platinum, no features, all of that dumb stuff. But like when you start having people like Monte Booker in your phone book, that's a different level than Monte Booker being a fan of you or Monte Booker just wanting to work with you. It's like that's you feel what I'm saying? It's like just a different level of connection when you as an executive producer of music, you're able to just pull in all of these great artists, and you need someone with that magnetic ability.
I get you, but I think it is a little bit belittling of that because obviously it's a business move.
It's not belittling.
Not that it's belittling.
That's massive though. But we like.
But
I feel
point is,
like we shouldn't put emotion. Like there's certain things that I just say that it doesn't need emotion to it, because that's like unemotionally when you just look at it, it's like he needs that. Like it's a mutual agreement, knowing that one person is obviously in a higher station in their career than another person, but looking at it as an executive producer, you just think you do need that person. You just need him, sort of thing. So it's like,
well, it's an asset.
Yeah, like, and that's a good thing, and it's positive to have people like that.
That's probably too strong of a word, but I mean to take away. You don't want to take a. I don't think. How can I say this? I don't think it should be taken away from him the fact that he is doing that.
Okay, yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
It's still an investment, because that's obviously people are going to. It is a business move in the sense that it's the building of a relationship. But I think if there's any way you're going to build a relationship, it's bringing genuine value to the people that you're creating that relationship with, because that's an investment. There's not really anything Monte Booker, because he didn't even. The funny thing about it is none of Monte Booker's productions actually got onto the final album.
That's cool. That's even better, fam.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like that alone just shows that he's moving in the right direction in terms
and
of
that
the way he's
is
approaching
a production move as a business person and an artist. And it's the funny thing. It's like, because I'm coming from that perspective, like actually being an artist in my own right and making my way in a weird type of way, but also understanding there's a business way that things have to be, and just having certain names in your phone book and like knowing that you can't F up this relationship, or you gotta be cool with this person. It's just part of the game. there's gotta be a politics in that, and like that's kind of like the side that Ari Lennox was talking about when she was like, oh, I don't really like this and I don't really like that, and it's just too much hassle. I just want to make music and all of that stuff. That's cool, Ari. That's fine. I'm J. Cole. I'm your boss, or I'm your label head or whatnot. I'm gonna do that for you.
But it's not.
I'm
as
gonna
simple as
politic.
that, is it? Because
I'm gonna bully for you because you don't want to do that for yourself, and that is the point of having a label. Really?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not really.
Like, because when you, what?
It is the point.
It's
It is
what-
the
it's,
point, but that's not
not
necessarily
really.
how it goes. There's nuance. There's more. It's more nuanced than
So
that. isn't
Ari
it?
Lennox should know every event promoter in every
No,
city that she's
because
going
when she's
to,
complaining,
because
we don't know what exactly she's complaining about. Because because okay, because
we
if
can
it
go
was
to the
case-
videos.
well, actually, I didn't know exactly what she said. She
Okay.
might have specifically been complaining about those things, but if she's complaining about those things, and that's what J. Cole should be doing, so then he's not doing that.
It's a business
Decent.
thing. It's like when an artist is complaining about being tired of this whole touring and doing all, like, first of all, Ari Lennox and Summer Walker have had great numbers, and both of them are prone to complain, just like early SZA was as well. Early SZA was prone not to complain, but to just not put out music. Like, I remember S and Z and the massive gap between that and Control. So, like, because like we were talking about SoundCloud before, I was there for all of that. I was there for SZA. I was like, Z, when she was talking about what's called again, I believe she done Teenage Fever on Z. No, not Teenage Fever. What's the name of that tune? But yeah, if you could look it up for me quickly. I just see the track lick. But when you got artists that are complaining about stuff like that, it's a different level. Like, you have to understand what this person is complaining about. This person here, and you gotta see that and say, okay, this kind of needs to be fixed. But she did kind of fix herself. She was just having a moment, all of that stuff, like, because at the end of the day, being a number one selling artist or a top selling artist is, one, unrelatable, and two, it comes with a lot of stresses. So, and it could be overwhelming. So you have to be able to handle that as a business person, and him having the knowledge as an artist that's already done that and is pretty much fed up with the industry as itself. Like, you know, you can hear J. Cole in his raps talk about, you know, he's not, even in his Angie Martinez's interviews, like, both of them, you just see that he's just fed up with it, and he only just does those interviews. He doesn't really do anything else. And that is okay, and he done a documentary instead of doing any press. Like, you didn't see.
You don't need to now, innit? Well, you know that you don't need to, but
it's not
well,
a great
he doesn't
business
need
move to not do press.
it's not. No, of course, but
It's not a great relationship move either, which can point to you know, your point of saying he's only building relationships with people and artists that he cares about. But at the same time, you need, like, there's going to be a time when you need these people. Not for yourself, maybe, because he's not building for himself no more. He's building for a whole cast of artists. And even the way he treats these artists today is the way future artists are going to see him in the next couple of years. And if he's actually thinking as a label head, then he's going to want to find those artists, or want those artists to find him.
No, I agree. I know what you mean. Like, having the connections within those worlds can still be an important thing.
Like, what do you think about it then? Like, because that's one of my main things. Like, knowing promoters now. Like, because I was like,
I get what you mean. But
I'm scared
guy,
of. I was
got,
scared of London.
This guy has
sort
got
of.
so much currency within the industry, and he clearly does.
Currency within the industry. Do you know him from anywhere? If he said, so you would just jump when he says jump, basically.
No, not
Let's
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay,
but the thing
then.
is, he's got.
Just because I know him doesn't mean that I know him from
people,
somewhere.
he clearly has enough people behind him, and he's still clearly works alongside people like well, I don't know if he works.
He
with
sells
Jay-Z anymore,
tickets.
but
That's it.
yeah,
He sells tickets, and when he stops selling tickets, that's gonna be a different. That's gonna be a different conversation.
I don't know though, because where he's working with all the people that he's working with now, and he's still making hits, and he's still working with the biggest artists. He's like
Child's Play. This
He-
is a tune. And Babylon.
he's had hits. He's had several this year, hasn't he? He had London, and what was the other one he had? He had a couple that done not necessarily hits from the Revenge of the Dreamers, but I'm sure he was on another. Like all the features.
No,
that
he's been on a plethora of features that like have.
He hasn't had
banged.
his own hits.
No,
Yeah.
but he murdered features ridiculously. So did Pusha T. I don't know what's up with them, man. They've just been going on a rampage. Like everything Pusha makes nowadays, I just love it. It's just nuts. Like, and everything Griselda makes, I kind of love it as well. But
I don't know, man. I just feel like, yeah, I get what you mean. It kind of it's important to an extent, but I don't know. There's just something in me that just says, if you've got the power and the willingness to sort of forge a path for yourself using what you've built thus far, and at least making the attempt to set an example that all these sort of antiquated ways of promotion, I wouldn't say necessarily antiquated, but ways of promoting, like, such as the press and all these sort of interviews where they're going to ask questions that you don't really necessarily want to even go into, or you in your soul you feel just doesn't correlate with how you want to create and how you want to put it out there and how you hope people will receive it. I think at least make an attempt to go beyond and past that can be an important thing, creating your own channels in which you connect with people, and using things like documentaries and the internet and the people that you are working alongside to sort of build that net and build that strong foundation to be able to build not just for yourself in the future, but for the people that are now under him and he's helping grow. I think it's an important thing to at least try and attempt that. Whether this is a long term, to attempt what he's doing now, where he's trying to just focus on the interviews that he wants to do and the promotion that he actually wants to do, that's speaking the most to his soul. Because clearly that's the reason why he's doing it.
that sounds so gay.
It does. But it's like, at the same time, but I don't know what you mean by that, actually. Like, what it doesn't. What do you mean by that?
It just
What do you mean?
like, it almost sounds like, and this is me playing devil's advocate here. I hate devil's advocate. The devil doesn't need an advocate. So this is me playing counter, which is, it almost sounds like he's ungrateful for the attention that he gets.
Why?
That's
Why?
It can be considered ungrateful for the attention,
Why?
because there are people that want to speak to you, and there are people that would love to probably have a conversation like he has with Angie Martinez, but he wouldn't even afford them the luxury to try.
But how do you know that? Because when we're talking
Because really, you don't know, on the behind the scenes, he could be a little bit divish in the ways that it's like he just comes to the station, does an interview, and goes. And like, when you're doing a press run, the New York press run, which is like, it's all within like blocks and buildings of each other. From my understanding, I haven't been on a press run in New York yet, but I know in the UK, it's pretty much like that as well. But yeah, like, you have attention, and there are other people, who you should have relationships with, at least fair relationships with, or even fair weather relationships. Like, and this comes from someone who doesn't really like talking to people in general. Like, and not really, don't really like talking to people, but just doesn't have the standard type of conversation. And in a certain type of way, you hear someone talk about I'm not gonna do press, or someone say no more interviews, and think, okay, like let's look at Big Sean. He doesn't do press or interviews, and how much does the public know about Big Sean now, or how much does the public care about Big Sean in the way that he wants? J. Cole has been afforded an absolute luxury that's not afforded to many artists. We only see Weekend through a camera lens. What do you mean?
What do you mean he's been afforded a luxury?
Like, he's already done all of that kind of scut work in the beginning, right? And he's done all those type of interviews, but it's like he didn't build the relationships. Like, has J. Cole been on Breakfast Club?
Yes, he has.
So, and the reason for not going back on Breakfast Club is
for whatever reason. I don't think that's any of our business. Is my point. It's like there's so many things that you like that.
It can sound ungrateful for the attention.
But I don't think that matters. I think however you take it and his intentions.
Okay, you're talking about the biggest artist in the world. Let's talk about make it more local. Yeah, one of your artists doesn't want to do interviews. What would you say about them?
Well, that's a different story.
They're a diva. That is the point.
Story. But
no, but you can't. But now it's okay. Now let's talk about one of J. Cole's artists. Just because J. Cole doesn't want to do interviews, does that mean that they shouldn't do interviews now?
No, 100%. I'll tell you why.
Okay, then.
And I'll tell you why. It's about you. It's hard to say actually because it's hard to say. Look, at the end of the day, when you're trying to build your career, you've always got to make sacrifices.
Yeah. And that's my main point.
I get it. But he doesn't have to make those kind of there's certain okay, no, I'm not going to say that. There's certain sacrifices that where J. Cole is now, he doesn't have to make because there's things he's already done. There's positions he's already in. And you can say it's seeming ungrateful, but if you've already done things to do whatever you need to do, because just as much as the press is helping him, they're also helping them. His name and him being on, because by the last time I remember he was on Breakfast Club, he'd already been doing big things, big numbers. He already had albums. 2013. This was after Forest Hill Drive when I saw him. No, but was it 2013 the last time he was on Breakfast Club? I feel like it was after Forest Hill Drive.
He didn't have any hair. 2014 was Forest Hill Drive.
2014 was Forest Hill Drive.
Yeah.
That's why.
And this interview is.
But my point is, by that time he was like he was about there was still. It's not like he's not adding anything to them by being on that interview. It's not necessary, and that's not to say that he shouldn't show love. Probably if you asked him about them, he probably wouldn't have anything bad to say. But I think when you're at certain points in your life and career, and there's certain things you're doing, and there's certain things you want to focus on, it's like sometimes sometimes in your life, I think everyone's wanted to do things in the way that they want. You've got to live with the consequences. If that puts you further into obscurity than you once was, or even more so than you was before, that's your own thing to deal with, and you've got to battle with whether it's worth it or not. I don't think it's a bad or good thing. I just think you've got to live your own truth with those kind of things.
Okay, so
if you in your heart of hearts feel like that thing is not adding to you, and you're endeavoring to see if you can do it in a different way, in a way that's more interesting for you and that's more authentic for the people around you, then why not give it a try? It might not work, but everything's worth an experiment. You know what I mean? And I think as long as you're not talking bad on the people that you're working with, I think things like that are always salvageable. Like, especially if you're in the industry and you're still working at it, and you're just trying to do it in a different way. I don't think there's anything bad about that. Is my point? I guess I'm saying. I don't think he should be seen as something as ungrateful just because he wants to do it in a way that he wants to do it. Because the documentary it was a successful documentary, and I think
It
he
was
had
a
quite a good one.
self-serving documentary. It wasn't journalism by any stretch of the imagination.
But isn't it? But if we're talking about him going on these press runs because it's something that he needs to do, then isn't that still just as self-serving as if him doing the documentary?
Because journalism, one, journalists have an agenda, and two, if the agenda is the truth or to find the true you, rather than the you that you want everybody to see. You know, me, look, listen, wait. Let me put it in this perspective. I'm an artist. I'm quite open with myself and all my shortcomings and all my shortcomings as well. Pause. But pause.
What the fuck?
But I thought that was
up.
gonna be funny, but you know
we
what I
need
mean.
to censor that shit, bro.
But
Fucking hell, let's move on.
But like, I'm all for, you know, telling your own story, preaching your own narrative, but that's not journalism. And this is just playing the counteractive on what people in the industry, well, not even in the industry. Like, let's talk about just journalists, like real journalists, people that want this real story, that want the real come up, that people that would like to help instead of.
Do you think those people are more far and few between than you think? And are you talking about people who aren't necessarily people like the Breakfast Club,
the real journalists,
or the Power? Was it
Power? What?
Power 106, Hot 96,
Hot 97. I mean,
yeah. Are you talking about people aside from these people?
There's the hip hop journalists, and then like there's like Rap Radar, Elliot Wilson, or Charlemagne, or Big Boy, and who's a hot? Well, Charlemagne's the only like hard hitting one, like the in depth one, really out. And like let me not try and break down the hip hop journalists right now.
Yeah, but my point is, I'm just talking about yes, those or not. Are you talking about people who?
I'm talking about like just people that are interested in journalism, that are interested in another perspective of what J. Cole would want is, or someone who wants to explore him or explore the story from a different perspective. They won't be afforded that luxury because he wouldn't speak to them.
Well, when do you say no though? Because he can't speak to everyone.
You don't need. Well,
because he did speak to someone. It's not that he didn't. He had a conversation. He had a conversation about what he was thinking. She asked him. She asked him questions that a lot of people might want to know, and I can't remember exactly how in depth she went in on it. But I don't know what you expect, because it's like the way you're talking is like there's this expectation. But that's what I'm saying. It's like this is the thing with people with people who are creating. Everyone's their own person. They have the openness to make their own decisions, and especially if you've put the work in and you've made the sacrifices and the decisions already in a place that you're already at. I don't. I think you've got the.
I feel like you're. Well,
I'm just like
I like wearing the Defender Creatives cape, but there's also the understanding of the business cape that like we have to not be so naive on and think that we are like bigger than the game, because that's what like, because there's a lot of arrogance in The Bachelor that I'm realizing now, and I just want to start getting away from that, which is the only reason why I'm speaking like this, is because like there's obviously this thing that I speak about on my website nytypical.net called The Arrogance of The Bachelor. It's like one of my articles, and it just speaks about how, because we have a little bit of information or a lot of information at our disposal, we think we can act in whatever way we see fit, or we have the best critical analysis of all things, but maybe we don't. And that is really the point. It's like maybe it's not the person that really likes you that you should be having a conversation with. Maybe it's a person that enjoys what you do but is trying to discover you again for the first time. Maybe it's that person. Not someone that has you feeling like they're your brother or child or sister or something. That's really my point. Like I just don't want us to get arrogant in the way of our information now, because in 2024 it's going to be all different. Trust
me. I don't know. I get what you mean, and I do think that.
Hey, we can talk about this again.
Oh yeah, I feel like you have to do what you gotta do, but I also think, you're still your own person, and I think.
I didn't say don't be your own person.
Yeah,
I just said, listen.
Well, we don't know why he's doing it.
Maybe your words
we never
is
will.
In the best way. So.
We never will. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know the exact relationships he's got.
This went on longer than I thought. That conversation went on longer than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
but yeah, fam,
it's good. Okay, sick. Well, thanks guys for tuning in. This has been episode 19 of the Culture and Camaraderie podcast.
19,
almost at 20, bruh. Again, please like and subscribe. Follow us on all the channels at Camaraderie Pod. So that's CA. Well, if you don't know how to spell camaraderie, come on, man. You need to just get Google out. I ain't going to sit here doing it for you every episode. Anyway, at Camaraderie Pod. This is Tyler, Lax Era, LAX_ERA, and Damadici.
NY typical. NY typical style, NY typical space.
All of that. Yeah, get his new book. That is out.
Yes, on November 20th.
Yes, thank you. Still pre-orders going?
Yeah, pre-orders are going.
Pre-orders are going.
It's a bit
going.
Mad
it's a bit mud. Yeah, so
I
make
love
sure you
the
pre-order
love.
that up. And remember, me and the Sounds of Sway Collective have an event on the 20th of November. So if you've gotten this far, thank you so much. But yeah, 20th of November, King's Head Members Club. Get your asses down. People like Elzo, Lolash, Komikamo, Apollinaire, Anton Joseph, Tate Imogen, Bakari, and myself on the decks. And your man Damadici hosting. Please roll through. Show some love. But till then, peace, blessings, and salutations.
This is Culture.